What's up, VC? This is Brad from H2Vinyl. This is the third installment of my most wanted vinyl for 2018. I'm a little late on this one. Things just got busy in the month of March, and so I didn't make a video, but I'm trying to get this out as quickly as I can for the month of April. And then I also purchased my fourth most wanted vinyl today, so it should be, thankfully I was able to purchase it from the US, and so I'm guessing it will arrive. Today's Monday, the 2nd of April, and so I'm guessing it'll arrive by maybe Monday of next week, so look for it shortly after. But this month was actually quite surprised to find this locally. I think I mentioned that, I alluded to that in the last video that I did. One of the record stores in town used to be a yard sale before it became a record store, and these are the guys where I did my first bulk buy from. The name of the store is Foundation. I think it's on Edgewater here in Orlando. Pretty decent store. It's a small store, but they got a lot of good stuff. And really great guys. They gave me a deal on this. I think they wanted 85, and I think I got it for about 65, which was pretty cool. Well, I mean, I bought 500 records from them in just one fell swoop in March of 2015. So I'm glad they're cutting me deals. Thanks, guys. If you're watching, I told them about my YouTube channel. See if they're watching this. Anyway, here is the album. The album is Uncle, his fourth album, which is End Stories. And then there's titles. There we go. End titles. There we go. End titles. Stories for film. Make sure I got that right. Yep. End titles. Stories for film. I think I first heard this album probably around 2014. I stumbled, this was released in 2008, by the way. This is a UK pressing. It was only released on vinyl in the UK. I think I hadn't looked into Uncle for a number of years, and I want to call it the sister album to this, because it kind of has the same artwork as War Stories, which was released in 2007, and which is, by the way, my favorite album by Uncle. This one is a second. It kind of, given the mood that I'm in, this ties for second with The Road Part 1, which is Uncle's latest album. Let me finish my story, though. So I stumbled on this using Spotify in 2014. So I was 6 years late to this party, and the funny thing is, I knew they had Uncle had released another album, and I had that album. I just didn't know about this one, and I think that was because Eye for an Eye, is that their second album? Eye for an Eye, I think that was it. It has Eye for an Eye on the album. Was released in 2002, and then War Stories was released in 2007. So there were, 4 or 5 years between those two albums. Well, when you've got a group that releases an album in '98 and then 2002 and then 2007, you kind of think it's going to be another 3 or 4 or 5 years before they release another. And this was a year later, so this one caught me so much by surprise. I didn't know about it until 6 years later. So I discovered it on Spotify, and I remember listening to it the first time while I was recording it off of Spotify to my first reel-to-reel deck, which I bought in 2014. No, 20. 2014, yeah, 2014, August 2014. So this is the first I heard of it, and that was the time I first heard it, and then played it over and over on that reel-to-reel as I was getting to know the reel-to-reel deck, and fell in love with it immediately. This is an incredible album. You have kind of a trip hop sound, you have a down tempo sound, you have kind of ambient sound at times, you've got kind of experimental at times, and then you also have this orchestra, this orchestral sound woven throughout the entire thing, and it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Really, really glad to get this on vinyl. So I bought it on CD, and that was soon after I recorded it to the reel-to-reel, and then secretly was hoping to find this on vinyl once I started collecting vinyl, and again was surprised to find it local. So the story goes, purchasing this, I was planning on buying it off of Discogs, and found that it was for sale in the US while I looked it up, and I'm like, no way. And then I looked at the seller and I was like, what? And the seller was Foundation, and I think it said Orlando afterwards as well. And I immediately, I was at work that day, and it was a Friday. I usually have part of Friday afternoons off because I work on Sundays. And so I immediately left work and drove over to the store, and they recognized me when I came in, and I'm like, hey, I looked at Discogs and saw that you had this album, and they were like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, we do. We still have it, and so got a great deal with it. It's not really in the condition that I really would hope that it's in. I would love for this to be in near mint condition. There are times where you hear some pops, you hear some clicks, but along the same line, I'm really glad I didn't spend double for this. So let me take out the cover here. The artwork, as I said, is reminiscent to the album before it, which is War Stories. This is a kind of a gradient gray with, getting lighter to this side, and you have this body with kind of this almost like a Jesus type halo around their head. And then the back cover there. And then on the inside, it's a gatefold. Try not to have things fall out here. And so there is more of the artwork. I can't see the camera, so I don't know how well that's in the shot. But anyway, yeah, and then it also has, I'm not going to get both of these out, but it also has artwork on and these are glossy inner sleeves, and then it has one of the band, I believe this is James LaVey, pretty much is the mastermind of Uncle. And Uncle is also really well known for having a lot of guest artists, and this is no exception. And another reason why I think that this is the sister album to War Stories is because Josh Homme, lead singer of Queens of the Stone Age, is on War Stories, and he also sings about 2 or 3 minutes on this album as well. Along with it, one of the bass players for a few of these songs is Brian O'Connor, or the BOC, and BOC plays for Eagles of Death Metal, which is also kind of coordinated with Josh Homme as well, and so there were probably some ties there. And then Gavin Clark, oh gosh, he's a UK artist. unfortunately, he passed away in February of 2015. He has a pretty good voice. He sings on probably four of these songs, and I don't know a lot of his work, and so I was kind of hoping that some of his work would stand out. But I think he sang in the groups like the Evangelist, the Sun House, and something Cliff. Anyway, brain farts. Anyway, this is a 2 vinyl set. I also have custom labels. I'm not going to get these out, but there's one of the custom labels, and here is one of the side C of the custom label. Anyway, I don't know how that's showing up, but one thing about these records is they are full. They are completely full. This is 80 minutes worth of music on two records, and kind of wish they would have opted for a third. But it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm really glad to have this in the collection. Trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say. Nope, I think that's it. So, as always, I'm going to end this video with several needle drops. I'm going to be doing a majority of these songs. And as I mentioned, this is a close, this is probably a tied second for Uncle albums, with War Stories being the #1. It's also, War Stories is also on my want list. It's just way up there in price. But anyway, pretty much none of these songs are just flat out horrible. They're all amazing, and I'm going to be playing, like I said, a majority of them. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the needle drops. So everyone, take care, and hope everyone's doing well and listening to great vinyl. We'll talk to you later.